Welcome to Get Your Bell Rung, a pro wrestling podcast, doing our recap of a Wednesday night Dynamite from August 26, 2026. Joining me tonight is the co-host of Rasslin Memories, the one, the only Grizzled Vet. Also joining us, bringing a legitimacy to this podcast, is the one, the only WCW veteran, author of Looking Up at the Lights, author of a very new book that's coming out, Robbie Idol. Gentlemen, how are you?
Good. How you guys doing?
I want to know why Robbie brings legitimacy. What about me? Don't I bring something to the table?
No, we just bring opinions. Robbie brings experience for the business.
And by the way, that is the author of his upcoming book, inspired by me.
No, go fuck Robbie yourself. Jesus Christ. A monkey could have said, Robbie, you should write another book. He'd be like, okay.
Hey, look, if it was a room, he might not get through it because his head's kind of getting big.
I know. As soon as I read you thanking him, I'm like, Jesus. Where's my thank you, motherfucker, by the way?
I did thank you. I thank you for the podcast.
Yeah, way the fuck at the chapter freaking 8, the end of the book. Goddamn son of a bitch.
Hey, you got thanked.
You couldn't even get the guy that the podcast you're on, and you couldn't even get the name of the podcast right. Like, Jesus Christ.
We all can't be.
No one ever gets the name. It drives me nuts. I swear to God, it's not just Robbie. Everyone is. I was a guest on someone's podcast last week, and host of Get Your Bell Rung. No, it's Get Your Bell Rung Pro Wrestling Podcast. If you don't add the Pro Wrestling Podcast at the end of it, and people go look for Get Your Bell Rung, you're going to find a football freaking podcast. I swear to God. So it's Get Your Bell Rung Pro Wrestling Podcast, people.
I say it right.
Grizzle.
Yes.
Today's kind of a somber day for you. Should I talk about it?
We can talk about it. Yeah, we can talk about it. Saturday was kind of the somber day. I have been getting doing a little better now. So the reality is starting to kind of set in. So
yeah, your friend passed away. He was a big wrestling fan. Yeah, talk to us about him.
He was my buddy Drew. My kids know him as Uncle Drew. He wasn't just like a friend. I knew him since I was 18. So we knew each other for 36 years. And in those cases, family isn't always blood. Right. It doesn't have to be blood to be family. And just like you guys. You guys are like brothers to me. It's that wrestling family thing. And he was like family to me and my kids. He was part of my wedding. He was, he's my oldest godfather, so. But last Thursday, due to complications from lymphedema, which I don't understand what lymphedema is. I don't understand what the complications of it are. He had a respiratory issue. Wednesday night, was placed on a breathing machine. And Thursday, the doctor said if they take him off it, he's not going to last very long. He opted to have the breathing machine removed so that he could, and this is my buddy's true fashion, he opted to have the breathing machine removed so that he could enjoy a hot fudge sundae from a local restaurant in town back in California. And the doctors were right. He didn't last long. He was in no pain. According to his brother, he went with as much grace and dignity as anyone he's ever seen. So, but yeah, Saturday to find out, right before I was going to work, I find out that he passed. But yeah, no, he was a fan. He checked out this show a couple times. I know because he commented on a few things that I said. He messaged me. So I knew he watched a few things. Triple H, Ultimate Warrior. Ultimate Warrior was one of his favorites. I remember that back when I first met him. He was an Ultimate Warrior guy. Big Triple H fan, but 36 years is just hard to kind of wrap my head around the fact that he's not here anymore. So, it's gotten better. I've getting better handling it, but I just thought tonight it'd be kind of fun, like I always do, talk wrestling and talk wrestling in his memory. Yes, we have to review AEW Dynamite. I don't think he ever watched AEW a day in his life, but the thought's still there.
Yeah. Our condolences to you and his family and his friends. And yeah, Drew, the show's for you tonight, then, my man. AEW Dynamite, Robbie. Oh, real quick before we go into that, I had quite a few people that were sending me messages. Apparently, at the CAC reunion this year, they just finished their 60th reunion. I know last year they were working on a documentary for the CAC, and JC kind of pulled me and wanted me to say a few words about CAC. Well, this year, I guess they played it for everyone at the CAC because people were like, "Hey, you look great on TV." I'm like, "You talk about the podcast?" They know you made the documentary, you made the cut. So for all of my fans, all of our fans out there who are at the CAC, they knew I wasn't going to be there. The CAC wasn't going to be there. They know how much my fans truly wanted to see me. So they played it, made sure I was on there for all 5 of my fans. So I'm glad you 5 got to see my beautiful face on the big screen. Now back to Robbie and AEW, man. What did you think about the go home show? Did it make you want to pull out your wallets and spend $39.99 or $45, whatever it is, for All In on Sunday?
Truthfully, no.
I agree.
I'm with Robbie. Absolutely not.
I'm sorry. Truthfully, it just did not.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, I mean, the more that they keep pushing the Omega Ospreay, you know, of course, Will out there in the beginning. I was waiting for Omega at some point, but thank God we didn't get him. I mean, the more I keep seeing the stuff with Omega and Ospreay, out of all the matches, that's the one I could care less about. I just, I hate to say it, but it just, you know, I mean, Ospreay's just coming off as Howdy Doody. You know, when they both put them together, we talked about it on the, you know, the podcast and their promos and stuff. It's just, I don't know. It just doesn't make you want to see it.
Yeah, look, there's nothing more that I would love to do. And, you know, I was, Gene Jackson was on my podcast last night. And I told
Great
Gene
interview,
this.
by the way.
Thank you. I told Gene this. I said, you know what, Gene? There's nothing I would love more than when we do these recaps for me to constantly say, what a great week of professional wrestling. Because I don't like to sound like a lot of the freaking marks out there. All they do is cry, whine, and bitch. But at the same time, we have to be honest, or else people won't watch the podcast because now we're not being genuine. So we have to be genuine. So there's honestly got nothing I would love more than to be able to say, what a great week of professional wrestling. But I can't. And one of the reasons is this Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega thing. Grizzle, I don't know what's going on. Both of these guys used to be fire, even on the mic. And now when I see either one of them about to cut a promo, I want to turn my volume off. Like, I don't know if they're just phoning it in. I don't know if they think that they've gotten so good that the level of promos that they give doesn't have to be there. I don't know what's going on. But both of these guys, both Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay, man, their promos are just, they're lacking.
Phoning it in is definitely a good way to put it. The promos have not been impressive, which is kind of sad considering the two guys that are in it. My main issue with this promo that started off our show tonight, I'm sure you're going to talk about it, and kind of the overall theme of the show. Last week we see Kenny Omega put Will Ospreay through the table with the one-winged angel on it. And then the next week, Will Ospreay's back out like everything's fine, and the champ's not there. How do you have a go-home show and not have your champion and just be told, oh, he's not here tonight? He's your champion. Where is he?
Right.
That right there kind of took away any kind of the legitimacy because it seems like almost that, we don't need a champ here to promote the show. It's fine.
Well,
we don't need a champ here to plug the show.
It goes further than that, Grizzle. And real quick, Terry Zero says, good evening, gentlemen. Terry, brother, we've missed you. Glad to see you're back, man. Check out my interview with Vince Russo if you have not done so yet. I've had a lot of people give me a lot of compliments on that interview. Gene Jackson even said, man, normally I don't watch Vince Russo's interviews because there's nothing he could say that I haven't heard, but yours was different. So check that one out. Look, you're right. Kenny Omega should have been there. But then on top of that, the one winged angel, that finisher is pushed to be this massive. There's only one person who's ever kicked out of it, right? And then on top of it, this was done to Will Ospreay on the table. So for Will Ospreay to have gotten this move that is so badass that puts everybody down, and then on top of it is still the table, and now you're back. No neck brace, no nothing. Nope. Hopefully Grizzle will join us again.
Okay.
But no nothing, Robbie, right? You have this injury or this surgery you had to have on your neck that they constantly talk about that almost ended your career. And your champ gave him this move on a table, no less. And he is just out with like Grizzle said, with okay, whatever. It's whatever. Someone is not thinking, Robbie.
Yeah, I mean, because we're going to get into it when we get to those matches. But yeah, I mean, it's just, because they did a few things last night that you're going, really? So
one of the things that they did, Terry says, watch it very good. Thank you, Terry. I really appreciate that, brother. One of the things that they've done, on this podcast that I was on Evan's podcast this past Sunday. One thing I talked about was I am more of an AEW fan than a WWE fan these days, is because at least AEW puts on wrestling matches, right? But I swear to you, the past few weeks, it seems like it's been nothing but promo after promo after promo, like WWE, man. Like, right. What the hell's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Are they watching their show and saying, hey, we got to compete with them in this set? I mean, when they opened up like that, I went, wow, we're just starting off like WWE now.
But look, it was worse. And I don't want to jump ahead, but we'll get there. But the ending of the show last night on a video package, right. At least WWE, if they ended on promos, the fuckers are there live in the ring. Right. I prefer it not to end like that over and over again. But don't get me wrong, if it has to be, I at least want them there. No, this is a video. We'll get to that. I'm scratching my head right now. But let's get into it. Hopefully, again, Grizzle will be back. AEW Dynamite was live from Glasgow, Scotland at the OVO Hydro Dome or Center. We opened up with Will Ospreay addressing Kenny Omega. Will Ospreay opened Dynamite in front of get a pretty good pop from the Glasgow crowd. Ospreay reflected on the past year, including his surgeries, the doubts he had about whether he would ever return to his position and his journey through British wrestling before reaching New Japan Wrestling and then AEW. He talked about working throughout England, Wales, and Northern Ireland while holding down construction jobs just to continue pursuing wrestling. Ospreay paid tribute to the British wrestlers who influenced him, including Doug Williams, Zack Sabre Jr., Mark Haskins, and Jody Fleisch, while also remembering those from the British wrestling scene who are no longer alive. Ospreay then returned his attention to Kenny Omega. He said there's nobody he respects more and called Omega the best wrestler of the decade. However, Ospreay said that all that respect disappeared when Omega brought up his son. Ospreay said he has promised to keep his family and everyone who supported him and vowed to give Omega the fight of his life at Wembley. He closed by saying he was going to prove that heroes are ordinary people capable of extraordinary things and that he was going to take it all in. I know this was supposed to be a passionate promo. Did nothing for me, Robbie.
No, it did nothing for me. I mean, it was funny. I talked to a friend this morning that's a big wrestling fan. When I was at the gym this morning, we were talking about it. And here, I said, I honestly wish that Tony would have had big brass ones, kept the title on MJF, and then brought him over here to England and had him beat Ospreay. And my buddy agreed. He said, I agreed the same way. He goes, I would have loved to have seen that. I mean, I'm not looking forward to this.
Right.
Next, which is sad. I mean,
Well, I agree. I mean, this is gonna be your main event. And look, I have no doubt that this is gonna be a good match. We've talked about this over and over again. How many times we've talked about, this one pay-per-view, AEW, we're not that excited about. And then we come back on the following Wednesday and like, holy shit, every match for the most part was good. We'll see. I think that the fans is going to make this match better, to be honest with you. We go to our first match, the Continental Challenge Cup semifinal, Jon Moxley versus Claudio Castagnoli. Winner Jon Moxley. The match is okay, but this is my question, man. Why does it have to always go there like this? It's always, and they do it over and over again. They always make sure that people from the same fashion are there to fight one another. It's always predictable. And not to get into WWE, but WWE just did it with, now Penta and his brother are gonna be facing. It's fucking predictable. Stop with the predictable shit. Well, it's like, Jesus Christ. Other than that, I mean, it was a decent match, but look, I don't think anyone was shocked that Jon Moxley was the winner.
I mean, I called the two participants that were going to be in this. And but I mean, here's my issue again. We're going to go back to the issue. You're talking about Will with the neck, and now I'm going to have my issue was Claudio gave Moxley the stomp, the curb stomp, and Moxley kicks out. I mean, he did a couple finishing moves that anybody else was finished, and vice versa, and he did, it was just like, are you kidding me? We're kicking out of complete finishers now,
Well, and one of the problems I had all night long was with the referees, actually, with the false finishers, because the ref's hand stops at the 2 count or at the 3 count. I swear to God, you can almost count to fucking 4 before the wrestlers were kicking out of it, right? It was so, the counts were so fucking off. Stop with the fucking fight. Look, and I'm not saying it's easy to do, but if you can't coordinate it enough where it's not so obvious that the ref knows to stop, then stop the fucking false finishers, because it makes the product look fucking bad, in my opinion. It really fucking does, Robbie.
Yeah. Oh, no. I mean, it was. I mean, it just, there was some stuff. I mean, the match was okay, but there was some, some of the forearms looked weak on both of them. I was surprised from Claudio, but, both. There were forearms that looked weak. There were a couple things, moves that looked kind of off, like, okay, the choreograph was off and stuff, and then like you said, the false finishes, but like the kick out on the curb stop and everything. It was like, because you're kind of going, wow, we got swerved here, and then all of a sudden he kicks out, and you went, all right, we know where we're going now.
And Grizzle will come to you next. My other issue, and it's not just with Jon Moxley doing this, it's with professional wrestlers doing this, period. The ones who do this. We know on fucking wrestling games, the whole, you're stunned, wobbly fucking shit on the fucking games, right? I don't need to see it on fucking live TV. It looks absolutely fucking stupid. Jon Moxley's fucking wobbling. I swear to God, I'm like, did he just play a fucking game? Like, I'm going to do this in a match. And I see this done over and over again. I think it looks terrible when they do this. Grizzled, your thoughts on the match? And what we're talking about, as far as I talked about the referee, the false finish counts were terrible. Um, the kickouts. Jon Moxley kicked out of moves like the curb stomp after a couple of finishers as well. It's getting ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I saw some definite issues between the 3 count or 2 count when they were kicking out. But I'm not a fan of the false finish too much anyway, because it's just taken away from it. You expect them like almost every match.
Yep.
Honestly, though, this, and I don't know if it says anything in the quality show, this is actually one of my favorite matches. I enjoyed this match. I thought, Moxley and Claudio actually, I enjoyed it. I got into it. So, for that matter, but, one of my favorites. But like I said, that could be more towards the quality of the show overall than being that it was like a, great match.
One of my problems, and I say this while when you weren't with us, is I'm tired of the predictability. It seems like it doesn't matter if it's a Continental Challenge on AEW or a tournament on WWE. They always have to put people against one another that's in a faction. Ooh, they're fighting. Or like we're seeing now, Penta and Rey Fenix. It's predictable. Like, stop this shit. I don't give 2 shits if Jon Moxley and Claudio was going to face one another. I want something that is not predictable. Not to mention, goddamn well Jon Moxley was going to win this. No, I don't think anyone was like, ooh, is Claudio going to actually win this? Because Robbie called it. We all knew it was going to be Jon Moxley, and it's going to be Nigel, because of where it's at. I'm getting tired of the predictability. I want to be fooled. I want to not know what's going to fucking happen. I don't know, Grizzle.
Oh, I can agree with that. Like I said, once I found out that the Continental thing was the actual title and not a chance for the title, then I realized, okay, Mox is going to go on to this. I still stand behind what I said last week, that this is going to be Nigel McGuinness's probably like last match, and it'll be his chance to, say goodbye to the crowd, because, basically his home country and everything. So, and I'm with you on predictability. When they announced, you mentioned Raw, when they announced that tournament, when I looked at the brackets, I'm like, oh, okay, Penta's and Rey Fenix are going to be in the finals. Penta's going to win and go on to face Roman. It's obvious. My son's like, well, they might do something different. They're not going to do anything different.
No,
that tournament screamed Penta versus Rey Fenix.
Right. And we all know, because Penta's the most popular one, is going to be Penta against Roman Reigns.
Right. That's what you just said.
I think also, yeah. Right. And also, though, I think Penta's obviously the more obvious choice, because size-wise, maybe he matches up a little better with, because Rey's a little guy. So, I think maybe size-wise, Penta fits up better. But yeah, no, we're not talking WWE. I have enough bitching about that from Monday night.
But that match between La Parka and Penta was even off. I mean, there was, like, you could tell there were, like, moments they waited for each other. It was kind of slow motion. It was off. You could tell the choreograph. To me, would have been, I mean, I guess, because I have a feeling Roman would have had a hard time on his style, and maybe he'd have a hard time going to Roman's style. But actually, the kid that should have went on to that and should have won that whole thing was Dragon Lee.
Yeah, I can agree with that. But you know what? I blame, as far as the choreographic or whatever you want to call it, the match being off, I blame that on WWE. Because if WWE allowed these guys to do their fucking thing, then they would do their fucking thing. And we would be wild. We'd be singing praises about those type of matches.
Right. But I mean, I think they did with Phoenix and Lee, let them go, because I mean, they were smooth, but Dragon Lee brought it. I mean, out of everybody that we've seen on these matches, I mean, or at least in my eyes, I think he did fantastic, and he looked great out of everybody that was in that thing.
Yeah. Speaking of, of course, the year that I missed going to the CAC, freaking Rey Mysterio was there. Son of a bitch. Anyway, let's get back to AEW, guys. There's something else that I talked about to catch you up. We talked about the beginning. It opened with a promo. And the closing of the show last night frustrated me because, not to bring up WWE again, but at least when WWE, we bitch about them closing with a promo instead of a match with the main event, but at least when they do close with a promo, it's a live promo. The wrestlers are there. Fucking AEW, and I don't want to get too far ahead, close on the goddamn video. Like, what the fuck's going on with AEW? Because and as I told Robbie, the podcast that I was on this past Sunday, Evans, we talked about I'm over AEW fan, the WWE fan. One reason is because AEW at least has a good bit of matches during the weekly shows. The past 2 weeks has been promo after promo after fucking promo. What's going on, man? I mean, Jesus Christ. As Robbie said, are they just watching WWE thinking, well, we need to do the same shit they're doing?
Yeah, possibly. Now, you said AEW, it closed with a video promo?
Yes.
Didn't you watch it?
Oh. I may not have. I don't remember this.
You know what? But in Grizzle's defense, I swear to God, I thought it was a commercial and I almost turned it off.
Okay. Yeah. And I mean, because they closed out with like film highlights of Ospreay and Omega.
Yeah.
But I mean, he could have probably thought after the last match that, okay, this is it. And,
right.
You know, and like you said, you kind of
that
thought
might have been, I'll find out when we recap it, but I might have missed something here.
Yeah.
And you might, and it's possible then that you could have. I mean, I guess because I sat and watched, you know, just for the heck of it because it hadn't gone off yet, and that's probably why I picked up on it.
Guys, next we go to real quick.
6 o'clock in the morning is my problem.
What did you think of the opening segment? By the way.
Well, I made that comment when I first watched it. I wasn't a fan of the promo and the fact that Kenny Omega wasn't there because your champ should be there on a go-home show, and he wasn't. And the promo just didn't sell anything for me because last week we saw Ospreay going out with through a table, and this week, okay, I'm back. I'm gonna talk for a while, bruv. I'm gonna talk on the mic, bruv.
And as you drop,
I know Omega.
And as you drop this, that's what I was saying. The big problem that I have is the one-winged angel. This move is booked and pushed as the ultimate finisher. No one's ever kicked out except for one person. Now, not only was this move done on Will Ospreay, it was done, as you said, as everyone's seen, on the goddamn table. So what else did they talk about Will Ospreay? Oh, well, because of his injury with his neck, Will Ospreay talked about that as well. You would have thought he would have come out with at least a freaking neck brace, something on to add to the story. Whole shit, you know, Will took that move on a table. His neck may be injured again. Can he beat Kenny Omega? No. They just completely ignored it.
Yeah. So, yeah, the opening promo just didn't do anything for me just because of the scenario from the week before.
Next we go
to Will Ospreay is super wrestler or whatever again.
Right. Adam Copeland and the Young Bucks versus Jake Doyle, Brian Cage, and Rocky Romero. I was talking to my buddy Mark last night, and I'm like, I am so pissed off on how they booking fucking Jake Doyle and Brian Cage. We talked about this last week. Jesus fucking Christ. Now, we all know that Rocky Romero was going to take the pin, right? But still, I'm getting over this shit. The match was an okay match. It was entertaining. Rocky Romero, do something differently. The same move that cost Rocky Romero last week when he slides to the corner for and you know, poses for the camera, the fans, whatever, is what he did this week. And that's what cost him the match. Really? Come on. Let's not be lazy. We don't need the exact same finish as we had last week, this week. Now, one of my favorite parts, I guess, of last night was actually after the match. By the way, the winners, Adam Copeland and the Young Bucks. Post-match, I just love Christian Cage. I love the fact that although he's, I guess, kind of in that babyface position, he's still a fucking heel. And I love heels. And I think that's very smart. They didn't change Christian Cage. He had this massive personality change just because he's with Edge. Nope, he's still that son of a bitch, and I love it. He came out and he told the Young Bucks to sit down and shut their mouths. Christian said he did not associate with people beneath him and claimed that the Bucks were not legends like himself and Adam Copeland. He said legends have matches and pay-per-views named after them, and promised the Bucks would learn the difference between influence and being legendary to win. Mac Jackson responded by pointing out that pay-per-views have also been named after the Young Bucks. And he said, not pay-per-views, he said, a show, talking about All Elite's been named after them, the Young Bucks. And he asked Christian if anyone had ever, named an entire company after him. Matt also warned that last week's super kick to Christian had been an accident and that another word at them, well, then that super kick may not be an accident this week. It became physical when Christian kicked Mac Jackson in the balls. I loved it. Nick Jackson responded with a super kick to Christian. Adam Copeland then speared Nick Jackson. Now, this is the thing, guys. Wrestling 101 is at the Go Home show. The two guys left standing are the guys losing at the pay-per-view. There's no way that Edge and Christians drop these titles to the Young Bucks because they still have business with FTR, Grizzle. Yeah, no?
I don't know, because I don't think the business of the FTR needs to have the titles. So I could see the Bucks going over with the belts, and then that would allow Edge and Christian and Cope and Christian to do their thing with FTR, which we know is going to lead to a retirement match. It's going to be retirement. So I wouldn't be surprised maybe to see FTR show up on Sunday. So the Young Bucks win.
Right. I'm almost wondering if we're going to have a number one contender versus retirement match. If Edge and Christian can't beat FTR, if they drop the titles, if they can't beat FTR for the number one position to go after the Young Bucks the titles again, then they're going to be done. They're going to retire. Possibly Grizzle. Yeah, no.
It could be that way. It could just be a retirement match. I just think the business between Cope and Christian and FTR doesn't have to have the tag belts involved. Yep. It's going to be a retirement match, and that's all the, tag belts would be, as Jim Cornette says, a hat on a hat. So,
now, Robbie,
so I could see the Young Bucks going over this Sunday, maybe.
Robbie, as I just said, Wrestling 101 is the guys left standing at the Go Home show are usually the guys that are losing. But, and I just talked about predictability. So often on their weekly programs, it's very predictable. But Tony Khan kind of gets a little wild at times and likes to swerve people more so than WWE at the pay-per-views. Do you think he's kind of swerved us here with having Edge and Christian left standing tall, or are the Bucks going to get the title?
I saw something through social media that the Bucks' contract is coming up and they're not looking at renewing it. So that they're talking about them retiring, just being done.
Well,
be kind of curious. I mean, I was kind of curious. I'm like, I don't see them doing that, retiring, because you would think they're in their early 40s.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. I mean, there's so much shit going on right now. Look, I just read today, and it was literally laid out like news. And it was from a wrestling dirt sheet that LA Knight has requested to be released by WWE. Goddamn well that's not true.
Right.
So when I read stuff, Robbie, and I was taught this in writing in college. In college when I was taking writing and with reporting, if you can't find 3 sources that's credible reporting on the same thing, more than likely, it ain't true.
Right. Right.
But kudos. It's professional wrestling, right?
Yeah. I mean, and plus, the rumor mill and stuff.
Right.
I mean, you could see it because they've been wrestling how long? And maybe they're, and the stuff they've done, your body's probably, their body has got to kind of be hurt a little bit. I honestly think they're going to get titles. I really do.
Yeah. We'll see. Let's go to the comments for a moment. Terry says it's clickbait.
Probably, Terry. Probably.
Now, before I watched AEW late last night, and before I watched it, before I turned it on, I talked about another news site reporting, oh no, our hearts are broken. Willow Nightingale may not be able to be at All In because she was injured on Dynamite. So I'm like, fuck, that sucks. And then we go to this segment. Mercedes Moné attacking Willow Nightingale. Willow Nightingale's music played, but the AEW Women's World Champion never came to the ring. The broadcasters instead went backstage when Mercedes Moné was standing over an injured Nightingale. Willow was clutching her left hand in pain with her championship and a steel chair lying nearby. Moné mocked Willow and apologized to the crowd for the champion being unable to appear. She said she had taken away Willow's ability to speak and promised to take away her championship as well. Moné told Willow that her smile would be gone for good at All In. She picked up the AEW Women's World Champion, said that would also be gone, dropped it beside Willow, and walked away laughing. Robbie, obviously, it's not a real injury. I know you said that Omega and Ospreay is a match you're not looking forward to. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not a fan of Willow, and I'm not a fan of Moné. I just didn't care.
No, but if you're going to your wrestling 101,
right?
Hopefully, then the big thing is since yes. Moné was standing, hopefully that Willow keeps this belt and Moné doesn't get to take the title.
But between us questioning if Andrew Christian's going to drop it or if the Bucks are going to win it because of Wrestling 101, I'm going to be honest with you. I would say the one that we would be mostly swerved is going to be this one. I don't foresee Willow keeping the title. Tony Khan loves Moné way too much.
Yeah, I mean, I hope he doesn't. I just, my big thing is I'm hoping you're going to see outside interference, and it'll be a big pop to see Tony Storm come back.
That would be fucking awesome.
Because, I mean, it's in her home. And I mean, that would be pretty cool if Tony Storm came out.
But I'm going to be honest. Tony Storm comes out. I'm over the gimmick that she's been doing. I want it to be Tony Storm. But nonetheless, any version of Tony Storm would be better than no version of Tony Storm because I think the women's division really needs her back. I hope Britt Baker is coming back as well. I don't foresee that happening. I think Britt Baker is going to make her return when they do the show dedicated to Rebel. That's what I foresee her hopefully coming back. Grizzled, your thoughts on this segment?
Well, I'm a Willow fan. We know that one. So,
right.
Not a Mercedes fan, so I was not thrilled with this promo. I don't want to see Mercedes win, but that's a personal thing. I'm not into the Mercedes thing style. Never. I like her Sasha Banks at WWE fine. She came in. I don't like the CEO shit and everything else. I'm just not a fan. Wouldn't mind seeing Tony Storm back. That'd be kind of cool. I have no issue with timeless Tony Storm though, But I've always thought a fun way to do that gimmick would be to kind of change the era of which she's in. So maybe later on we get like a, women in prison Tony Storm wearing like the
Jesus.
like a
Don't give them any fucking ideas. You know I hate stupid shit.
Hold on. You go into like the Faster Pussycat Kill Roger Corman style where she's like the biker chick. They could evolve the timeless thing and get her into a different era. I think that would be kind of a fun way to do that if they want to continue with the hello, whoever that was.
That's my wife. Diet Coke.
Nice her to make an appearance. Can't crawl on the floor this time in your new house.
No.
But anyways, I always thought that'd be kind of a fun way to kind of evolve the timeless Tony Storm character, is just change the era of women in film style that she's doing. I think it would be kind of fun, something like that. But
that's fine.
Either way, I wouldn't mind seeing Tony Storm come by.
Look, that's fine as long as they don't cheese it out, is all I'm saying. Guys,
well,
back to WWE as we go backstage. Oh, I'm sorry. I mean AEW as we continuously go backstage for another segment with Don Callis. He announces Mark Davis for the Casino Gauntlet. Renee Paquette interviews Don Callis and Mark Davis backstage. Callis said he was refreshed and ready to all in weekend. He then announced that Mark Davis had drawn a number for the Casino Gauntlet. Callis said that regardless of who won the AEW World Championship match between Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay, Davis would have an opportunity to enter the Casino Gauntlet. Callis promised that Davis would settle his score with Andrade, win the Casino Gauntlet, and bring the AEW World Champion back to the Don Callis family. Are you fucking kidding me? Mark Davis can't fucking beat goddamn the little guy.
Darby
Allin. And you think he's going to... See, this is the type of stupid shit that I'm talking about. They want to book these big guys like Mark Davis, Brian Cage, Jake Doyle, and all these other big guys at AEW poorly getting beat by these little people, these people like Darby Allin, like Jack Perry. But then they expect me to believe that these guys are going to be a real threat and actually are in the running for possibly winning the World Championship. Give me a fucking break, Grizzle.
Well, no, Mark Davis isn't going to win no title. I mean, he beat Jack Perry for the national title, but he's not going to be a world title contender. That's the problem. The Casino Gauntlet match, you don't know who's in it. You just know the first two because of the nature of the match.
That's where we're going to surprise us.
Yeah. I'm sure there'll be one or two peppered in there somewhere. But it ain't going to be Mark Davis winning this thing. I don't even think MJF is going to win it. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Andrade, but...
Yeah, Andrade's taking it up. Robbie... Go ahead, Grizzle. Sorry. Robbie.
No, I'm done.
You good?
Yeah, do you agree? I mean, look, do you see what I'm talking about with people like Mark Davis? Like, they book him so poorly, and then all of a sudden...
Yeah, because you've done it with Brian Cage, you've done it with Jack Doyle, you've done it with you. But again, we'll go back to you did it with Wardlow. Yeah. You did it. You've done it with all your big guys. I mean, Tony Khan, for whatever reason, does not like the big guy. And I honestly think that it's because Tony must have got his ass beat every day in school when he was a kid in school, and he must have got his ass beat by like big guys, and he thought, okay, now I'm going to get a wrestling company. I'm going to take all these little guys like Darby, Orange Cassidy, Jack Perry, and all these guys, and I'm going to put them over the big guys.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite saying, booking and consistency fucking matters. It really, really does. I think Tony Khan, I bet during these WCW days when they were, WCW was really one of the first to highlight the cruiserweights. I bet you Tony Khan was just there, just like creaming on himself, watching cruiserweight, because that's what he seems to like, is the cruiserweight.
Right. But I mean, can you imagine, and we're gonna go back to the good old days of wrestling, okay? But can you imagine and I'm gonna use a perfect example because I remember when I saw him. I think I know I hadn't broken in, and it might have been. I don't even remember what year it was, but when I saw the dude, I was like, wow, the dude was awesome, but he was also scary and stuff. And could you imagine taking, like, if I was there or Rick was there, or like, okay, we're going to use Rick as an example. You take Rick Ryder, and now you had, and I'm talking about the missing link. Could you imagine putting Rick Ryder over the missing link? Nothing against Rick, because I love Rick to death. But I mean, that just would not have been credible,
right?
You know, because Missing Link was booked as this, you know, psycho badass, whatever. And I mean, when you saw him, you know, like even seeing him on TV as a kid, you know, when I watched him, you were like, yeah, I never want to work with this dude, you know?
Right. Yeah. Terry says, where was Tony Khan 30 years ago? Marking out for somebody. I don't know.
Okay. Hey, Terry, could you imagine we could have been stars in AEW back in the day? Even Rick Ryder. All 5'4", Rick.
Next is actually, believe it or not, even though it was Andrade involved in this, I think this is my favorite segment because it made me laugh. A certain point just had me cracking up. I'm talking about MJF and Andrade. Andrade's music played, but Andrade did not immediately appear. Instead, MJF came to the stage wearing his Triple B. MJF mocked the Glasgow crowd and claimed he had paid people to warm up Andrade before All In. Explaining why Andrade supposedly was not there, MJF called himself the true champion and mocked Andrade's presentation, including his t-shirt, jewelry, and habit of taking pictures with fans. MJF selected a woman for the crowd and said, you know, in the States should maybe be a 4, but here I can see she'd be a whatever. Actually, my wife went, I think she'd be about maybe a 2 or 3 here in the States, because but I look, I laughed my ass off. I was literally just dying laughing. I don't know why I found that so funny, but MJF to tell this, you know, look, you're an ugly bitch. If you're in the States, you're ugly, right? And whoever this young lady was, you know what? I got to give her props, because the way she sold it just added to it. She had that, I cannot believe you said that to me, look. And unfortunately, though, as much as I loved it, it stopped at that point, because we got the, how you know, stupid fucking shit. And then Andrade came out, him and MJF for that. Andrade went crazy on him. MJF escaped, running back to backstage area. Robbie, your thoughts on this segment?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an Andrade fan, but you know what? It served a purpose. I mean, the whole thing, yeah. I mean, but yes, when he told her, you know, that if you were in the States and the way she sold it, the way she just looked at him like, I can't believe you said this to me. I mean, it was great. So that part, yeah, I was laughing. It was hysterical. And I mean, them doing that with Andrade, yes, I hate how you know and all that, but that gave him his moment, and you kind of, you know, it got the pop you needed for it.
Well, no, don't get me wrong. The action and the attack was good.
Right.
It was just that one moment of the you know, it brought it down somewhat for me.
Right.
And then it got back to being okay again. Yeah. Grizzle?
I'm going to have to agree with the both of you. MJF's promo was great. And when he did the thing with the woman, oh, in the States, you'd be here. You're like, I was like, what the fuck? That was great. But when you give MJF a mic and just kind of let him go, he's gold. He's gold on the mic. And no, you thought, okay, Andrade's not here. I'm like, fuck, is anybody here? And then you hear the, how you know, and I'm like, oh, yes, fuck, there he is. Okay. And yeah, it kind of took a downer at that point, but it picked back up.
Right.
You know, and he goes in to get his move on him, and MJF's like, "Oh, fuck off," and off he went.
Yep.
So, You know, MJF playing the chicken shit. I liked it, but yeah, the segment with the girl and oh, here you being, and her look of what the fuck.
Guys, the next match was actually my favorite match of the night. The Continental Challenge Cup semifinals, Nigel McGuinness versus Kyle O'Reilly. I really liked this match. Now, I don't know if it's Robbie, it has to be you because Bob Cook never comes on Thursday nights. Fuck, these days he only come on Tuesday nights.
And he hasn't been there Tuesday nights.
Yeah, but you mentioned about Kyle O'Reilly. That kind of not being believable at times because he's such a small guy. I'm going to disagree with you there because Kyle O'Reilly is a legit badass. He is legit,
Yeah, but I never said he was small.
I swore you said he needed some size on it. You just don't buy some of the stuff that he does because he looks. Boy,
no,
maybe that was Bob Cook. Guys, excuse my dogs. It's storming out here, so my dogs are going nuts.
No, that had to be Bob because I know Kyle was like a legit badass.
Okay, so maybe it was Bob then. But look, I love this match. It was predictable, but the action was so good. And my God, going back to Kyle O'Reilly, you want to talk about the toughness of this man? Did you not? Did you see the freaking egg on the side of his face? Jesus Christ. Ultimately, though, again, we all knew it was going to happen. I thought about Robbie. I'm like, Robbie's going to be exactly right. Nigel won the match. But look, I thought it was a great match. I really, really did, Grizzle.
Oh, it was a great match. I said Moxley and Claudio was one of my favorite matches of the night. This was the other one. If I had to compare the two, this would be the better of the two.
Yeah.
But those are the two matches I enjoyed. No, this one was good. I like watching Nigel work. I'm looking forward to seeing him against Moxley and All In because I think Moxley will work with him to give him a chance. Because, like I said, I've been saying it again, it's his home country, so Moxley's going to let him have the spotlight. I think so. I think it'll be a good match. This was a good match.
Yeah. Robbie, look, this was probably the best match I've seen Nigel in since he's come back a couple of times to wrestle. Again, I really enjoyed this one. Where are you at with it?
It was okay. I don't like his move that he goes into the ropes and kind of lays and then comes out of there. To me, it didn't look that good. Match was okay. Other than I guess that couple of times he did where he kind of laid in there and comes off of it, and right. I don't remember if he threw a lariat or whatever.
The start of the match at first I'm like, and then it got good and it became again my favorite match. And I'm talking about when Kyle O'Reilly had was trying to get him on the ground, had him in the leg. He put his legs around him. He was like trying to, and then they shook hands and then Nigel tried to do it. He couldn't do it. Nigel just kind of walked out of it. That was a little goofy to me, right? And I was like, but then I really enjoyed it after that.
Yeah, but I mean, like when I saw the goose egg on his eye, I was like, holy shit, and he kept on going. So I got to give him credit on that.
Next, we go back to the ring. Nope, I'm just joking. We go backstage to Kyle Fletcher and Okada, who showed up in his pajamas like Michael Jackson did at court. That's what it looked like anyway. Look, I'm not even going to read the interview because to me, I thought, and look, I'm a big fan of Kyle Fletcher. I'm a big fan of Okada. I thought this served no purpose because they didn't say anything different. It was the same thing, the same promo they've been cutting for the past few weeks. The only difference was the clothes they were wearing. Other than that, Robbie, it was exactly the same to me.
Yeah, and I think, again, and we're, to me, he brings absolutely nothing to the table, Don Callis, and I think it was just to get his face out, and the two times today, the last night that he was on too many times. He serves no purpose. He brings nothing to the table. I mean, he just, I know Bob can't stand Heyman, but at least Heyman brings something to the table. He's at least entertaining, where Callis isn't even entertaining.
Yeah. Grizzle?
Yeah, no, this segment didn't do. There's no need for this promo. I think this might have been one of the things where I was helping my kids get ready for school and not really paying attention because it didn't serve anything. It was like, okay, It's the same shit.
Right. We actually do go back to the ring for the 6 women tag team match. Maya World, Jamie Hayter, and Alex Windsor versus Persephone, Megan Bain, and Lena Cross. Look, was it an okay match? It was. Did I give 2 shits? I didn't. No matter how hard I try, cannot get myself invested or interested in any of these women. And it's not because they're not good performers, although I will argue that Megan Bain was much better as a singles performer instead of a tag team. But they're still all good. I just can't get invested. And for myself, if I'm not invested in the people, I have a hard time being invested and being interested in a match, even though I wouldn't say it was a bad match. I'd say it was a fine match. Just couldn't get into it. Grizzle.
The match was all right. I didn't have any issue with it. I still don't understand how they booked the Brawling Birds. They're a tag team. They're singles. They're a tag team again. This could be a case of them winning the titles because obviously home country.
Right.
Whether they held them long, doubt it. But overall, this match is okay. It was just kind of filler.
Yeah. Winners, by the way, it was Persephone, Megan Bain, and Lena Cross. Robbie Idol, you understand where I'm coming from, man? That it could be a good match, but if you're not investing in the people, it's just hard to invest in the match.
Yeah, no, to me, the best one out of that bunch was probably Persephone.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. And not taking away from anybody else, but I'm just saying, if you had to put one ahead of the other, I would say it would be Persephone. Someone needs to look at Megan and go, you know what? That fucking headdress has got to go because it looks like shit. I'm sorry. It just, somebody needs to look at it and go, you know what, Megan? This just does not look good.
Next, we go to a video package of Darby Allin and Kevin Knight. AEW aired a video package looking back at the history between Darby Allin and Kevin Knight. The package focused on the events that led to their Falls Count Anywhere TNT Championship match at All In, including Allin being burned by pyro and nearly having his neck broken by Knight on the previous week's Dynamite. And I put that in quotations because I am kind of mocking what Tony Schiavone said about him having severe burns on his face. He's seen it himself. I'm going to be honest again. What happened last week kind of took me out of the storyline because it was just fucking dumb. Especially because they're pushing, he has severe burns. Where does he have severe burns, Robbie?
Right. Well, and here's the thing, and here was the whatever. I'm missing a word, but was the killer at the end when Darby was on the stretcher and they're taking him. They stopped.
And they stopped.
Sting's kid, and he grabbed, Sting's kid was going to go after Kevin Knight, and Darby's grabbing him and holding back. That was your killer point right there that just killed whatever reality you had. That just killed it.
Did you guys watch? I'm sorry, Robbie. Did you watch Collision? I was expecting it because I meant to watch it, but I didn't. I was expecting them to have a match between Kevin Knight and Sting's kid. Did that happen?
No.
Okay.
No.
So but then, what was the purpose of all that shit then?
Right.
Go ahead.
No, it just that was Darby holding and holding them back and stuff. But first of all, and we talked about it on there. Why? Okay, if he's severely burned, why are we stopping so that Kevin Knight and Darby can have a conversation.
Right.
You know, I mean, and then he's able to hold Sting's kid back at, you know, any credibility you had. That was the word I was looking for. Credibility. You killed it.
Right.
You just killed it right there.
I agree. Grizzle?
Yeah, no. I mean, honestly, I wasn't really interested in Darby Allin versus Kevin Knight in the first place.
Right.
But this doesn't do anything. Like you said, he got injured last week, the burns, and it's just no. We're going into All In based off the name of the show, not the card, because the card is not very superior in my opinion, but we've had that before, and it turns out to be an amazing show. So,
it's I have no doubt it's going to be a great show. And on top of it, the fans is going to make it even better than it's going to be to begin with, I think. Guys, we go to the main event, and I had to shake my head and ask the question, why? Why was Swerve Strickland versus Jungle Jack Perry the main event when you had two Continental matches? Shouldn't at least one of those Continental matches, for the tournament, whatever, shouldn't one of those been the main event since that actually had stakes behind it versus this match? Grizzle?
Oh no, I'm with you. When I saw the main event was Swerve, and I was like, well, I thought I would have put Claudio and Moxley in the main, because you would have known, okay, Nigel's going to England to go for the Continental. Is he going to try to take it from Moxley? Will there be a new champion?
Right.
There's your main event to set that up to see, can Moxley go on. I would have done that as a main over Swerve and Jack Perry.
Yeah. Yeah. The match is okay. One of the when Swerve came off the top rope to do his finisher, which he landed the finisher, but somehow Jack Perry was able to reverse it. I question, I'm like, wait a second. So you're able to complete the finisher, but it doesn't stun Jack Perry at all, where you beat everybody else with it. And little Jack Perry was able to come out of that, reverse that right away. What's happening here, Robbie?
Yeah, I mean, I said the same thing. There was a few moves but the biggest question I had after Swerve beat him, and Swerve's supposed to be this badass, now they're shaking hands.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, okay, what are we now that because we've had conflict, what are you going to do? Like, is Swerve, when he gets his other two partners and he beats Bandito and Brody King and Adam Page, are you going to shake hands with them too?
They're going to, and I'll tell you why. What you just said. Number one, let's remember Tony Schiavone had put in there that, interestingly enough, Swerve is interested in the triple titles. Now, we know who's going to be making, or we don't know, but we're assuming that Kofi and Xavier Woods, or Creed, whatever he's calling himself, is going to be debuting at All In. Well, you know goddamn well that they're going to be debuting as baby faces. So they're putting them with Swerve. That's going to automatically make Swerve the baby face as well. That's why we're getting the handshake, in my opinion, to reestablish. Because remember, a month ago, Swerve was heelish because of what he did. Who did he attack and beat the snot out of? I can't even remember.
Brody King.
Brody King, yeah. That's right. And now all of a sudden, they're making them. So, I mean, that's why. Robbie, go ahead.
Oh, no. I mean, I had that was probably my biggest issue was, okay, why are we shaking hands or whatever, Yeah.
The winner, Swerve Strickland. Next, we go to the main event video. Closing video package, Kenny Omega versus Ospreay. Dynamite closing video package chronicling the history between Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay ahead of their AEW World Championship match at All In. The package showed both men preparing for their match and revisited their first meeting 11 years earlier in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. Omega won the first encounter, beginning Ospreay's long pursuit of reaching Omega's level. The package revisited their rivalry in New Japan Pro Wrestling, including Omega defeating Ospreay for the IWGP United States Championship. And their last match, Ospreay eventually defeated Omega in their bloody rematch, but used a screwdriver supplied by Don Callis, something Ospreay later said made the victory feel meaningless. The package then moved forward to their current AEW rivalry, including Omega's recent attack on Ospreay and the One-Winged Angel through a table on last week's Dynamite. Couple of things with that. One, they keep on emphasizing Kenny Omega, how he beat Ospreay that one time, and how how Ospreay beat Kenny Omega with a screwdriver the only time he's been able to beat him, and how Ospreay, they re-emphasized how he felt that it was meaningless, right? Do you think maybe they're planting seeds that Omega is going to still turn? I still think that some way, somehow, the Death Riders is going to be involved with helping Omega win. That's just me. And then secondly, if you have Will Ospreay opening the show, not selling a possible re-injury to the neck because of the One-Winged Angel through a table last week, you shouldn't be fucking reminding the fans about it in this video package, Grizzle.
I'm going to be honest with you. I saw the handshake between Strickland and I thought that was the end of the show. I didn't know there was. I saw no video package.
Yeah, and again, in your defense, after the main event, I went to walk away and I thought it was a commercial coming on, but then I stopped with what the fuck? And I rewound it, and I'm like, oh, I guess it's not. Robbie, again, the points that I'm making, especially about the One-Winged Angel, if you're going to not have Will Ospreay sell a possible re-injury to the neck, why are you reminding fans again about the move through the table?
Yeah, no, I agree. And it really didn't need the video package.
Right.
You know, I mean, I guess it was, okay, you needed a filler, and this was the filler.
Yep. I'm going to be honest with you guys. If this was just a regular Dynamite, I probably would have given it a B-. But because this was a go-home show, this was a weak-ass go-home show, I'm going to give it a C-. And I'm being a little kind, Robbie.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm giving it a C-.
Yeah. Grizzle?
I'm giving it a C, regardless of it. They're saying a go-home show. They still have a collision, so they can still do some fun stuff there. So, but overall, I'd have given it a C.
I mean, to me, the best part of the whole night was the MJF promo.
Right. Yep, I agree.
To me, that was. I mean,
No, I agree. I agree. Other than that, I felt like they were just going through emotions.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know, maybe it's from being in the ring, or whatever, and like help training people and stuff like that. You're just kind of seeing certain things, but I mean, I'm seeing it in WWE too and stuff that I guess maybe I'm a little bit too critical because it just looks like everybody's kind of slowing down or kind of waiting that few extra seconds for that, the move or whatever. And I saw that throughout the whole night.
Right. Guys, I know we normally do an after recap discussion. We're not doing that tonight because I have thunderstorms here and I'm waiting for me to lose internet because it seems to happen in Florida with Spectrum. So,
welcome to Florida, KG.
Yeah, right. Well, I think it's welcome to Florida to have Spectrum.
Okay.
I'm waiting for us to finally get fiber this way. We don't have fiber. That's the problem with fiber optic. Guys, Monday 31st. Up All Night. Remember Up All Night back in the day, USA Network?
Hell yeah, Rhonda Shear, baby.
Fucking Rhonda Shear's to be in the podcast.
Asshole.
Monday, the 31st.
Tell her I love her.
I will do that. I mean, she is so awesome. She's so awesome. I
love Rhonda Shear back in the 90s, though. Come on.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, I'm just saying she's such a funny woman. We text back and forth, and yeah, she's cool. Like, it's funny. I wrote that article on Rebel when I highlighted, she was a highlight person of the week, and it's through that I started talking to Roger Shear, and it was like we're old buddies. She said, we talked DM. She gave me a number, and she's like, "Yeah, say my number. Let's keep in touch." She's an awesome woman. She really is. Also, I found out last night after talking to Gene that Gene Jackson. He was on the podcast last night, and man, I love Gene. He's such a good guy, such a big heart. He's all about helping other podcasts be successful. He really is. But Robbie, he's going to have a booth with us.
Oh, really?
In Lutz, Florida.
Oh,
in
awesome.
October. That's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to meeting him in person.
Okay, cool. So he'll be with us too then. Cool.
Yeah. We're going to have the one-man gang there with us. Tommy Rich and Gene actually have done podcasts together.
Okay, cool.
So they're good friends.
Are they? Will tell Gene that I'm looking forward to seeing Tommy, and because Tommy and I in the past had a very good friend before he passed away, a mutual friend.
Oh, Gene and I talked about how your goofy ass was taking 20 whatever. Stupid motherfucker.
But yeah, so Tommy and I had a mutual friend that Tommy would talk to him as much as I was talking to him, back in the day.
Well, something I didn't know about Gene was he had a hand in helping write Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert's book.
Oh, wow.
Matter of fact, that's what kind of help him and Doug Gilbert become closer friends. Doug's a great guy. I think the world of Doug as well. But look, you want to talk about Tommy Rich and Doug Gilbert, man. They're up there in age. They've been around for quite a while, and there's a lot of guys that are still performing that we all have said just let it go. Like you shouldn't be in the ring anymore. Tommy Rich and Doug Gilbert could still fucking go at their age, and they still draw a crowd. I watched Doug and Tommy live at the Fan Fest 4 this past May, and I'm like, holy shit, these guys are wrestling still like they did back when they were young. It's just it's incredible how some of these guys can still go the way they go. But Robbie, I mentioned the one-man gang. Who else is going to be there with us?
Manny Fernandez, Coco Beware, Fred Ottman, Steve Carino. Who else is going to be there? What's the guy you told me? Which one of the Nasty Boys?
Brian Knobs.
Knobs. Okay, Brian Knobs. For whatever reason, I want to say the other one's name, and I'm like, but Knobs is going to be there. Tony Gurria.
Yep.
And
Bob Cook's going to be there,
Bob
not
Cook.
Signing autographs or taking pictures. So
he'll be drinking. Yeah, he will take pictures. But Bob Cook will be at our booth. So.
Yep. And guys, again, a major star is going to be there. Someone that you guys have to come see and take pictures with. Yours truly, KG Landry. Grizzle.
And sorry to interrupt and sorry to cut you off, but this will just give him a bigger head. And hopefully I will have the second book there. So I'll have both books with me.
By the way, speaking of your second book, as soon as I'm able to read it in full, Robbie Idol, well, he's always on a podcast, but he's going to be back in the hot seat as we're going to talk about his book. Right. Probably towards the end of September is what I'm looking at. Maybe after we get back from Florida, Lutz in October. But
yeah, so hopefully in the next couple of weeks it'll be coming out.
Yeah. Did Grizzle get a copy yet?
I haven't. No.
Fuck you! I've already got it, you son of a bitch.
So you can read about how I was the inspiration for the second book. All right.
I'm sure Grizzle has some stuff going on, but you know what? We don't care. I'm just kidding. Grizzle, What you got? You're a busy guy. What you got going on, man?
I'm getting busier by the minute, too. This weekend on Rasslin Memories, Sunday at 12 p.m. Central on Pioneer 90.1 FM KSRQ. Stream us live at radionorthland.org or find us on the TuneIn Radio app. Glenn and I will be discussing the final 2 episodes of Dark Side of the Ring. Missy Hyatt and Zach Gowen. We'll also be talking about some of the goings-on at the CAC this last week. And we'll also be talking about the unfortunate passings of Dolly Parton, Tim Curry, and the voice of Optimus Prime, Peter Cullen.
Yes.
A lot of the 80s died again this week. My new episode of Talking Off the Top Rope with Andrea the Giant, good friend of mine, is now available on YouTube. And KG, as you found out last night during your interview with Gene Jackson, I will be a co-host on a podcast with him doing Portland Wrestling Rewind. We will be watching Portland wrestling footage, doing recaps of that. So another show added to my plate, the Portland Wrestling Rewind with Gene Jackson. I will be the co-host on that. We begin recording that, I believe, next week. I'll have more information over time. That was revealed last night. So yeah, once again, busy guy.
Yeah, guys, check out my interview with Gene Jackson. It was more or less just 2 guys sitting around bullshitting about old-time wrestling. Gene's a great guy. I'm looking forward to meeting him. Also, guys, again, check out my interview with Vince Russo. Robbie?
Yeah, the Vince Russo one was great.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I listened. I didn't get a chance to listen to it actually that morning because I was running my buddy's, cruise, and the guys were like asking, needed help and stuff like that. But I wound up making sure I listened to it when I got home and stuff.
Yeah, and speaking of, look, I kind of got shit from a couple of people because I wasn't pulling up comments and questions like I normally do, guys. Look, this is the thing. When I have somebody on and we're talking about their book that they just published, there's a whole lot of questions to be asked. We're talking about their book. I can't always bring on, people asking questions because of that. It's not that I don't want to. It's I have to get that interview in. The reason why Vince Russo was on his podcast was to talk about his book. So I apologize about that. Sometimes, more times than not, your questions are going to be brought up, but there are going to be times, especially if we're talking about somebody's new release, that probably won't get to the questions. It's nothing personal.
No, I mean, it was, it is what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
But it was funny because, like listening to it, and I sent it to a bunch of my friends and said, you got to listen to it. Real good interview and stuff. And a couple people were like, well, I don't like Vince. And I went, no, listen to it. You will definitely. I go, I don't know the man, so I had no opinion of him either way. You just kind of heard, okay, what you heard through about him. And I said, but listening to him, just everything, I could kind of relate to him a little bit on certain things and stuff like that.
Yeah. Look, I told him on the podcast, I admitted to him, I'm like, I'm going to be honest with you. And I said, I apologize. I'm even a little bit of ashamed, but because I don't know you personally, but because of all the shit that you constantly hear, right? Yeah. And you don't hear from Vince Russo that much. You just hear all this other shit. I had a negative opinion of you. I said, I read your book. I went, holy shit. Because you brought receipts in these books. I told him I am now a Vince Russo fan. I mean, you guys have heard me on the podcast before.
Right. We've all picked, we've all made our comments, I mean, it was funny. I had a laugh listening to him and when he was talking about the book and everything. And I mean, I had said it, not what he said. I laughed. I went, wow, the same thing. Because I had made the comment to a couple of my friends when they asked me about the second book. And I went, this was like therapy.
Yeah.
This was like lifting a weight off my shoulder. And, hearing him saying it was therapy. And I mean, I had a laugh. I was like, wow, it's so, okay, cool. It wasn't the only, it was like writing this second book and putting stuff out that I put, was like lifting a weight off of your shoulder.
Yeah, I mean, in Vince's book, he did these things. I think it was called The Stream of Consciousness or something like that. And a lot of my interview was based off of those sections because, as I said, to Vince, Vince in the book, he said that he's never really been a character. He's who he is outside of professional wrestling. That's who he is. And I said, but to a degree, we're all somewhat characters in our lives, right? And to me, those little inserts was Vince being completely raw, and a lot of the stuff that he talked about, I'm like, holy shit, that's me. Everything from the not dealing with death to diabetes later in life to, I mean, there's so much. So I highly suggest getting Vince Russo's book, guys. Total nonstop agony. It's supposed to be the story about TNA, the fall of TNA, but so much more. And when Robbie Idol's book comes out, I highly suggest you guys get that because I've started to read it and it's really good.
Well,
I'm looking forward to that interview that I'm going to have with you.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Grizzle, when are you going to write your book?
I'm working on some stories. I'm working on some stuff.
Yeah, okay.
I have been, yes.
Cool.
And I do have to give a big shout out here since we're all okay. So I got to hang out with KG Friday night.
Yes,
an absolute blast. It was KG and his wife, his wonderful wife. I probably out of everybody that was in our group, she probably was the least maybe the least amount of fun because, but she was good. Very sweet lady. It was a pleasure meeting her. It was great hanging out with you and Robbie and Aaron. And then, it was funny because Sheila said, and I guess towards the end, at the end when they brought out, Zombie and Manson together and stuff, Sheila goes, I had a laugh. She goes, I looked at KG, I looked at Robbie, I looked at you. All three of you are singing and all rocking out. And I looked at all the wives and everybody, and we're just standing there because we don't know the words and we just standing there.
Yeah, that was awesome. They came out and they did the song Helter Skelter.
That was cool. I saw a video of that.
Yeah, and look,
that was cool.
The song was originally the song was originally done Helter Skelter by the Beatles, but there's been so many covers on it. The cover they did was actually Motley Crue's cover of it.
Yes,
and I was just talking about Motley Crue earlier, and then they came out, and I'm like, holy shit, it was absolutely awesome. I had a blast. You and Sheila's great, Krista. She thought Sheila was absolutely wonderful. She thought Kelly was wonderful. She thought Aaron was wonderful. She thought you and Bob were just okay. Now she thought you guys were wonderful as well. We had a really, really good time that night. She had fun. Good. It's one of those things that I think if the concert would have been in an enclosed arena, it may have been a little different for her because she would have been able to talk to Sheila like her and Sheila was talking, that her and Aaron was talking, right?
Right.
But because it was in an outdoor amphitheater, even though it was loud, it wasn't so loud that you couldn't hear one another when we were talking. So I think that made a huge difference for her.
Right.
But go ahead.
It was fun. I mean, and all the bands were great. I mean, I wasn't sure what to expect out of the Hue, but they were fantastic.
Yeah, they were. RG, the Who, and Marilyn Manson and Rob Zombie. Yep, they were absolutely. We had a great time, guys. We're going to. I think the Grizzled Vet gave us the hint that it's time to end the podcast. We'll be back. God help us. We will be back tomorrow night to cover SmackDown.
It's 3 hours again.
Is it?
Oh, I don't know.
I think it's 2 hours.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Oh, God, don't tell me that way. I think it's only 2 hours, but yes, we're back doing SmackDown again tomorrow night. Find out if you liked it, if you loved it. Was it just okay? Well, I have a feeling that we think it's just going to be just okay.
Well, I'm going to hope. Well, we can say this. Hopefully, now that they made their appearance on Monday Night Raw, not a fan of the two guys, but now that you threw them in with Hobbs, hopefully that now we're going to see a push with Hobbs and everything. All three of these guys.
The rumors are is that Fatu is going to turn on the bloodline and join Hobbs because they all have history together. And we're going to see a setup for Survivor Series, those guys versus the bloodline.
Really? That would be kind of cool.
Yep. So we'll see you guys. Until then, you guys have a great night. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. Please subscribe to the podcast. Good night, Robbie.
Good night.